episode 138. This is our midweek show, the Fantasy Lands, where we talk about everything and anything fantasy hockey specific. Today, we're diving deep into the Goo Goo Goalies Voodoo. If that makes any sense at all. But basically, halfway through the season, we're going to take a look at which goalies are standing out, which goalies have the right numbers, which ones you should look into some more, which ones you should probably fade, buy low, sell high, all the shebang. And as usual, I'm doing it with co-host Nick and producer Vince by my side. Guys, anything you want to add before we get started?
Please like, subscribe, follow along
Follow.
because it does help the podcast grow. And we love having you guys here so we could keep talking fantasy hockey with you. So please do that.
Okay, guys. So goalies, basically, we know how it is. Every year, um, nobody knows what to expect. So what we're gonna do this week is because wins are obviously the most important stat in fantasy, at least in most leagues. We're gonna run down the list of the top 10 goalies with the most wins and basically branch out here and there as we talk about each goalie. So first and foremost, at number one with 23 wins. Karel Vizmelka of the Utah Mammoth. Now, if you ask me, I probably wouldn't have guessed that when we started. When the season started, if you would have asked me who would have had the most wins 40 games in, I likely wouldn't have said Vizmelka. Guys, what do you think of Vizmelka's start to the season?
Well, I kind of told you when we were in our DPR league. We traded for Jamelka. You were very hesitant about it. I told you,
Yes.
listen, this guy's a volume starter. He is not as bad as you think he is. And you kind of poo-pooed me, but we ended up doing the trade anyways. And thank God we listened to me and not you.
And I actually went to acquire him and lose bucks after as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah. See, the things you learn by being on a podcast with me.
Yeah, but he's like Nick said, he's a volume starter. Him,
Yeah.
Saros, and Wolf are the only goalies that played 37 games so far. So he's a heavy volume starter. I honestly can't even tell you who his backup is. If you have any idea,
Vanacek.
is it?
Vanacek. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
we own him also because we traded for the backup just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, we had Ingram as well. What did we do with Ingram in DPR?
We traded him.
Ah,
Or, yeah.
great.
Well,
Okay, so yeah, Vejmelka, he's got a 902 save percentage. Good, not great. Nice 2.55 goals against average. So that's pretty good with one shutout. So with 23 wins, you wish the shutout number was a little higher, but you know what? We'll take it as fantasy GMs. At number two, we have Andrei Vasilevsky with 20 wins in 30 games. So his win percentage is probably higher here. But in terms of volume, only 20 wins, 7 losses. Guys, I mean, the usual, right, with Vasilevsky?
well, we knew Tampa Bay was going to bounce back from last year, and the huge winning streak that they had really helped them put a go like rank up in the standings. I know he was out a few games for injuries. People thought it was again his back, which it wasn't. So, but he's also going to be a volume. If he didn't get injured, he's going to be a volume starter from now till the end of the year. I mean, I don't see his backup. I think it's Johnson his backup or Johansson
Yes. Yeah.
get, especially on how tight that East is. I don't see him getting that many starts from here to the end of the year.
Well,
Jonas Johansson has played 18 games, 10 wins.
so, like, if you look at this year's stats, Vasilevsky has a 916 save percentage. Wedgwood has similar numbers, similar games played, 917 save percentage. Shesterkin is at 913, Sorokin 915, Blackwood 917, but that's it. Wallstad 916, but hasn't played as many games. So, like, to me, Vasilevsky in the conversation for the Vezina again this year, and Wedgwood might be in the conversation for the Vezina as well,
We'll get to it a little later, but I have an
and
interesting
Logan Thompson.
Have an interesting debate there for the Vezina later. So yeah, you mentioned Wedgwood. After Vasilevsky, we have a one, two, three, four, five-way tie for third with 19 wins. Scott Wedgwood, Jeremy Swayman, John Gibson, UC Saros, and Sergei Bobrovsky. Out of these five names, which one surprises you the most? And I think there could be more than one answer here.
So
Yeah.
Bobrovsky surprises me the most. Um, and a big reason is because he is the only one out of all those people that you mentioned that is over a 3.0 goals against average and a save percentage way under 900.
But from a wins perspective,
Oh,
the quantity of wins, the volume of wins.
I was not with the amount of injuries Florida had, I was not expecting them to have many wins.
Ah, fair point.
Yeah, and for me, it's Saros. The way Nashville started, you would never think that he would be tied for third in wins, and it's just in the month and a half now that they actually warmed up that he's up there. His save percentage, like Bobrovsky, is still under 900, but no shutouts for Saros, so that's a little surprising. But I mean, that's to me Gibson. We all knew that he could have been. He had a rough start to the season, but he we knew he could have helped Detroit, and he did. So and Swayman, I mean, that could be a surprise too. I mean, we didn't think Boston was going to be anywhere close to the playoff. We were thinking they were going to be at the bottom of the standings, and they're right there in the playoff spot. So Swayman could also be the surprise.
When I was doing this research, I just found it so interesting to see that the goalies with the most wins don't necessarily have the best stats. And that's a bit what we're seeing here. I mean, it's all mediocre. It's all like good, not great. So like, and I want to point out too, UC Saros, he's faced over 1,000 shots. In the top 10, he's the only goalie in the top 10. I think he's the only goalie in the league who saved over 1,000 shots, actually.
Dustin Wolf
Dustin
is
Wolf.
1,001.
Mm.
So Dustin Wolf and UC Saros are the only ones with over 1,000 shots
And
against.
they also don't.
938 saves for UC
Yeah,
Saros.
and they also don't all have the highest fantasy points. Like Bobrovsky right now in one of our leagues has 84 fantasy points. It's a 2.55 fantasy points per game, which is not high for a goalie.
But he there's an outlier in his stats because he was who did they lose to? I think they lost like 7-2 or 9-2, and he was in net for he was in the goal for every single
Yeah,
goal against.
exactly. So that's it. So just because you have the high stats also doesn't mean you're going to get the best percentage points out of it,
Yeah.
fantasy points out of it.
And then rounding off the top 10 is a four-way tie. Logan Thompson of the Washington Capitals, Igor Shesterkin of New York Rangers, Brandon Bussi, and Jake Ottinger, all with 17 wins on their stat sheet. Logan Thompson, I kind of expected. He's got nice numbers though. Igor Shesterkin the same. It's shame he got hurt. Brandon Bussi though, obviously here he's the surprise,
Oof.
and he's still got decent numbers even though he hasn't been great of late. What do we think of Brandon Bussi? Is this something you guys? Is this a player you still have your eyes on? Is this a player that you would consider still going to trade for, or is this just only a matter of time before Carolina upgrades their goalie situation? Because Frederick Anderson hasn't been good at all.
I believe Carolina wants to keep their goalie salaries to a minimum and spend their salary more on their players than their goalies. Hence why they re-signed Anderson. Now they thought Kochkov at 2 million could have given that to them, but unfortunately he got hurt, might be out for the season, and wasn't having a very good season. They just picked up Boosie off of waivers just because they needed a goalie, and but Boosie's name has been out there that he was a capable NHL goalie. Like he's been in Dauber's uh,
Very true.
mm,
Yeah,
in
his
Dauber's
website and
website to articles
blogs.
about Boosie and how he could be an NHL, just not getting the opportunity with Boston because Swayman was there. So, but I am surprised that uh, he came out the way he did, and he's an older goalie. He's 20. Like I mean, his first full season, I think he's 25, 26. So it'll be an interesting dynamic. And does this make Kochekov this like tradable now that Boosie's there because he's a UFA, so they're gonna have to re-sign him next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Carolina goes with that. But yeah, so that rounds up the top 10 for wins. While we're on this subject, before we go into like more specific stats, uh, the shutouts. Number one on the list, Ilya Sorokin, who only has 15 wins, but has a 915 save percentage and a 2.47 goals against average. Now, this is a goalie that's going to enter the Vezina conversation for sure. And you know what? I'm gonna just link it right away to some advanced stats. Ilya Sorokin is number one for goals saved above expected. He has 22.3 goals saved above expected, which obviously leads the league. So I think Ilya Sorokin is having very quietly, the best season I think for a goalie this year in terms of an all-around aspect, if you ask me. Do you guys agree?
Yes,
Nick owns him.
And
yes.
look, just with five shutouts, the five shutouts alone is huge in fantasy. The next guy with the most shutouts is a two-way tie, and I think both would be surprising at the beginning of the season, one more so than the other. Joel Hofer and Jesper Wallstedt both with four shutouts. One Hofer in 26 games and Jesper Wallstedt in 20 games. Vince, Joel Hofer has obviously been much better than Binnington. I'll get to Binnington in a second, but what can you tell me about Joel Hofer? And is this a candidate for a long-term goalie situation for dynasty leagues? Is this a guy that you're aiming
Well,
to, you're
remember
targeting?
when we were talking about St. Louis not so long ago, Hofer's stats were not very good. I mean, we were making fun of his stats with Binnington. It's just recently where he started performing a little better, especially after the whole fiasco with Binnington. Binnington's time with St. Louis is done, especially that time when he refused to get out of the net when the coach called him to get out of the net, and Hofer refused to warm up because he he didn't want to replace Binnington.
Jesus.
So I mean, he is the future goalie of the St. Louis Blues. The problem is, when are the St. Louis Blues going to be relevant or good again with the team they have? So that's the only question for Hofer. Is he going to be fancy relevant or not? Because his team's not going to be very good for the next few years.
And Jesper Wallstedt and Philip Gustafsson combined have seven shutouts, four for Wallstedt and three for Gustafsson. I think the problem here is that they don't play, neither gets great volume, right, Nick?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Wallstat, if he played as many games as Vasilevsky and his stats were similar, might have already won the Vezina. But he's only played half the games that these other goalies have played, or almost half the games, whatever. So to me, that just you cannot be considered for the Vezina if you're only played half the games.
Yeah, and just to touch back on the goal save above expected, Wallstedt and Hofer are pretty much even, which basically means like they're saving what they have to save, and that's it, right? Gustafsson does have a bit higher goal save above expected, which probably gives him a bit more of the edge. And then we're gonna round it up
But
here
it's
with
gonna be it's gonna be interesting in Minnesota because they re-signed Gustafsson to an extension. So it's gonna be interesting how they deal with the dynamic of Gustafsson and Wallstedt and how that goes on. So it'll be a good storyline to keep an eye on during in the next few years.
and then there's the head scratcher at number four. There's a three-way tie here. Sergei Bobrovsky, John Gibson, and the aforementioned Philip Gustafsson. Sergei Bobrovsky is having one of those weird seasons, and I think it's because of the games that he allowed, the few games that he allowed so many goals. But 875 save percentage, 309 goals against average, yet he has three shutouts and 19 wins. Oh, and an assist to his to his stat sheet. So, like, what do you do with Bobrovsky? Is it someone like okay, in cap leagues it's really difficult to handle, but he's still up there. Vince, maybe you can tell us in fantasy points what it looks like. But
No, fantasy points doesn't look very good for Bobrovsky. I mean, he's got 84 fantasy points. If you want an idea of, and this is in one of our leagues. Every league calculates goalies very differently. But like our top goalie is Scott Wedgewood at 140 points. So Vasil, like if I go to Bobrovsky, Tristan Jarry has more fantasy points than Bobrovsky does. Like that's how limbo his season has been. Uh, Joseph Wool has more points than Stuart Skinner has more points than Bobrovsky.
Well,
I mean,
I found the reason. I think other than again Dustin Wolf always seems to be the comparable. But other than Dustin Wolf, Bobrovsky is the only goalie to let in over 100 goals
yeah,
with a
you
hundred
know,
on the
so
nose.
exactly. So I mean, uh, it's gonna be interesting to see what Florida does. Bobrovsky is a UFA after this year. If I checked it right, let me check it again. But I'm pretty sure he's a UFA, and I'm not sure there's much down the pipeline for Florida. So I
Well, they
mean, they
traded
they
away
They went to
Knight.
they traded
yeah,
away
and they
Knight,
went
but
to
they
get
got Tarasov.
Tarasov.
But is it enough? So
Does that
I
give
don't
you
know.
confidence?
No, not at all. But it's Florida; they can go get another goalie if they want. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Bobrovsky is a UFA and Tarasov. They're both UFAs after this year. So it'll be interesting what they do for their team to see what they can do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we spoke about the leaders. Is there a statistic that you guys want to focus on, or can I move on to uh, the goalies that are making fantasy GMs lose their hair and
All
go
right.
bald?
Yeah, let's
Are we
let's
good
do
to
the
move
goal
on?
save above expected here.
Okay, so let's do the goal save above expected, but from the bottom. So this is only for goalies who've played 20 games or more. Okay, because I don't want to start including the goalies
F-
that get called up and so on
from
and
the
so forth.
bottom, you really
From the
want to do
bottom,
this?
I own this guy. I drafted him this year in loose pucks. I needed depth in net. I thought he'd be great, but he's been everything but that. Jordan Binnington has a goal save above expected of 18.5 on the season, an average of point 0.7, negative 0.751, minus 18 and a half goals against. Guys, Jordan Binnington, is this the end of the line for him, or do we see a bounce back coming up after the Olympics?
I don't know how he even got named to the Olympics after this kind of performance until now.
Armstrong.
Yeah, but no, he got named in the Olympics because of what he did for nations. But I don't see him being the number one goalie for Canada. I think that's Thompson's job to have as the number one goalie with the stats he's putting up. But do you think there'll be a team that will bet on Binnington next year? I mean,
There's always
he's
a
a bit
team.
There's always a team.
yeah,
There's
but
always a
he's a
team.
bit off the wire. Like to not come out of your net when your coach is telling you to come out of your net. I mean, it's a bit ludicrous, no?
So was Patrick Roy.
Yeah,
Patrick
but
Roy was a bit ludicrous as well back in the day.
oh yeah, but now
To be a goalie, you gotta be a bit weird, right?
Yeah,
yeah, that's
they're
true.
very
I played in
particular.
nets.
Not necessarily in a bad way, but yeah, that explains a lot, Nick.
Yeah, I
But
played one season in
and
nets.
and sorry, my mistake. Jordan Pinnington is not even a UFA. He's still got another year left after this year. So unless they buy him out, he still has another year with St. Louis.
Maybe if they retain 50%, he can go to Carolina. Everybody's going to Carolina.
You
Or
think we're
Vegas.
oof.
He'll go to Vegas.
But guys, minus 18.5,
Yeah,
that's a lot of goals, man, that you're letting in that you should save, basically,
Dude,
is what it's telling me.
his save
yes,
percentage
but
is
but but
869. Like
and his team also is
these are
not very
AHL
good.
numbers.
Three is it 3.53 goals against average?
Okay, go to the second guy
God.
because the second guy
Okay,
just got called out by his teammate.
so there's three goalies that have played 20 games or more with negative double digit goals against goal save the
There, well
there's
done, Vince.
there's
You
three
muted the cough. I'm so proud of you.
Come
there's
on.
three goalies with negative double digits with goal save above expected, and it's Binnington, Linus Olmark, and Levi Muralainen. Minus 18.3 for Olmark, minus 17.3 for Merilinen. Merilinen also has a 3.5 goals against average, which is brutal. Olmark 2.95. I don't even want to touch their save percentages, but guys, that's a massive surprise because for both because Allmark was been pretty good since he's joined Ottawa. You know, this year obviously it's a struggle. Merlinan last year when Allmark was out in the 12 games he played, he looked fantastic. He looked phenomenal. Like we were thinking that they already had their the hair or whatever you call it to Linus Allmark. So what happened here and how reliable are they now in fantasy? Is this the end of the line for these two, or is it just a blip in the road?
A bump in
No,
the
Vince,
road,
yeah.
a
a
bump. Did
blip
I
in the
say blip? Yeah,
matrix.
Vince screwed me up
Yeah.
last week. Yeah.
even Nick like last episode screwed it up.
I think the
But
more that I do episodes with Vince, the worse my English gets.
but I mean
You mean the more worse, the more
yeah,
The
the
worse
more
more
worse.
Vince.
worse, the
Uh,
worstest.
but I think Allmark is something was going on. That's why he had to take a leave of absence. Something was distracting him from playing hockey. Is it is it still the case? He's back with the team, but they need him to be at the top of the game if they want any chance to making the
Yeah.
playoffs.
It seems
Because
like him and
they're
his teammates were thinking with the wrong head.
yeah, because honestly, him and his those backup goalies are not NHL caliber. Like he needs to do a load of he needs to do the load work for Ottawa for them to make the playoffs from now to the end of the year when he comes back.
I was having a hard time to understand what you were saying about
Yeah,
load.
yeah.
What kind of?
Especially
Not,
with them.
not where Junior went, that's for sure.
All right, guys. Let's
Uh,
let's bring it back. Bring it back.
Okay, we'll
Reel it
bring
in.
it back. Okay, so now the next tier from the negative side, because now we're going back to negative single digits, and I think then we can get more positive after this, because there's some names here that again, year in and year out, we expected them to be at the top of this list, but guys like Jacob Markstrom, Sergei Bobrovsky, Frederick Anderson, and the next two are even more surprising: Yaroslav Askarov and Samuel Montembeault, all negative single digits goals saved above expected, which means they're letting in, for example, Markstrom minus 9.5 goals that they should be saving, basically. So, guys, which of these five names that I just mentioned surprises you the most, and which one do you guys think can bounce back the easiest? Is most likely to bounce back?
I sorry, Nick, I think Montalban surprising the most, especially after last year's stats. That he's been so poor is not a good sign. The one that I think could bounce back is Askarov because he's just playing with a really young team right now. So I mean, as the team gets better in front of him, he will get better in nets. But I think Montalban, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Montalban has been really disappointing this year, and it's just because of the high of last year going to the Four Nations, even though he didn't play, just getting picked to go to Four Nations and having the season he did to come back to what he's now, it's a big downfall in my opinion.
Yeah,
Nick?
I agree with that. Absolutely. I still think there's a couple of guys that have been really bad. Um, and sorry, you mentioned name the five guys again because Montalbo was one of the guys I was listening to
Yeah, sorry.
Vince's, but I had the other guy and now I just lost him again.
It's Markstrom,
Markstrom. Oh, that's what I wanted to
Bobrovsky,
say. Yeah,
Bobrovsky, Frederick Anderson, Yaroslav Askarov, and Samuel Montembeault.
Frederick Anderson. Yeah, so Frederick Anderson, I think could bounce back. Montembeault could bounce back because we've seen these guys do it in the past. Markstrom scares me the most because I don't understand. This guy has not been good, and New Jersey every single year it's like they win the freaking offseason. They do all these moves to solidify their goaltending. Thank God they have Jake Allen. but it's just he's not good. Markstrom's not good. And tell me that, okay, you know what? It's because there's players on his own team that are scoring against him. We spoke about that the other day in Hughes, right, where Hughes scored 2 goals against him in one game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. They really put a lot of eggs in that basket when they went out and got Markstrom, and he has not been as advertised. He's not the person that they thought they were getting, and I think that concerns me the most.
Vince, to your point, Askarov, at least he has 16 wins, right? Because he's getting the volume start. So
Yeah,
he
exactly.
hasn't been great, but at least he's making it up with wins. But you're right. I think, what do we do with Markstrom? I think Markstrom is borderline like you can't draft anymore at this point.
Oh, he's
Well,
less than 880 save percentage and
yeah, but
3.37 goals
the
against.
team is also. I mean, and if you
Those are bad numbers, man.
yeah, but
Wow.
if you look at the stats in the East right now, the standings, you have Rangers in last place in the East, and you have the Devils right in front of them. Like the team is not very good either in front of him. So, like, there is to blame Markstrom. Not blame, but Markstrom isn't playing very well. He was also injured, came back from injury. I wouldn't touch anybody from the New Jersey Devils with a 10-foot pole right now because that team looks like it's derailed, a train that's derailed and can't get back on.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Before we derail, let's turn things into a more positive atmosphere. The leader in goals saved above expected, we mentioned it before. It's Ilya Sorokin, 22.3 goals saved above expected. We got Logan Thompson, Jeremy Swayman, Igor Shesterkin at 4, Vasilevsky at 5, Jet Greaves, David Rittich, Spencer Knight, Dan Vladar, and Scott Wedgwood round up the top 10, all with 8.5 or more goal save above expected. Guys, we said it from the beginning that Swayman, with a full offseason, might not get the wins, but he's going to be back and he's going to have Boston in games all the time. 15.6 goal save above expected so far this year with only a 277 goals against average. I think in large part, he's the reason why they're in a playoff hunt.
Yeah, according to Frozen Tools, Swayman I think is the only goaltender this year that has 10 steals.
Wow.
So that's significant, right? It means that they credited Swayman with stealing the game. Vejmelka is second with 8, tied with Ilya Sorokin with 8. But that's like Wallstad is at 7, and he's only played 20 games. That's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Uh, so just all this to say is that he has had a bounce back season. Yes, his save percentage is only 906. It's not 916 or 917, but he's putting it together. He's doing a very good job, and it's exactly this women we thought he would be last year. He's actually coming out this year. So
Okay, and what about okay, so Jet Greaves kind of came out of nowhere. Okay, no one knew much about him. Came out of nowhere, had a crazy few games when he first got up. Then last year he kind of propelled them almost into a playoff spot. This year he's ranked sixth at 12 and a half goals saved above expected. He's got a 90. He's got a 2.72 goals against average, above 900 save percentage. Jet Greaves, is there enough of a sample size on him right now that you guys think he's legit? Even though it seems as though bonus right now he seems to be leaning towards Merzlikins more so than Jet Greaves. What do we think of Jet Greaves? Is he a long-term solution in fantasy?
I think in dynasty leagues he is. Yeah,
You,
absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Vince.
I don't know. With the new coaching, it worries me a bit. Especially that Merzlikins is doing so well in the bonus. It worries me a bit that Jet Greaves right now is taking a backseat to Merzlikins. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the only thing that saves Jet Greaves is that Merzlikins is a UFA next year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to check. He's got 1 year left after this, but Jet Greaves is an RFA after this year.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to pay him.
So he's gonna get a pay raise, and Merzlikins has 1 year left at
at
5.4.
5 million. Yeah. So it's gonna be tricky because if they want to get rid of that contract, they're gonna need to play him. So Jet Greaves might just have to be sacrificed in a way so that they can get buyers from Merzlikins.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And I have two last questions for you guys, or debates if you want. Uh, One, we spoke of Markstrom, but Jake Allen is 19th with 5 goals save above expected. Would you guys pick up, stream a Jake Allen to for the second half of the season? Do you think Keefe and the New Jersey Devils are still going to play Markstrom, or do you think they're going to give him more games? Because he's already played 24 games compared to
I
Markstrom's 25. So they're only like 5 games apart.
I wouldn't touch any goaltender in New Jersey Devil with a 10-foot pole this year. That's my answer.
Yeah, it's
Nick is either
I mean,
frozen or very concentrated.
very concentrated. But for those of you that are not watching on the video, it's irrelevant. Um, I think Jake Allen is. It's important to note that like they're playing 4 times this week, and their competition is not that great. Like to me, like if you're playing Vancouver, Seattle, and Calgary, there's only one game that really scares you, and that's Edmonton. This is like streamer territory to me, right? You put in Jake Allen against Calgary, you put in Jake Allen against
Yeah,
Vancouver, and that's where my interest would be for Jake Allen. Not necessarily as a hold all year, but more of a streamer category.
yeah, plug and play.
Yeah, plug and play, exactly.
Okay, so the last one is, and Nick, I think you could start because you traded for him. Blackwood and Wedgwood seem to be a great duo. What I want to know from you guys, and probably what the listeners want to know, is given the fact that they both split games, but they're both that good that when they play, they get you enough points. Is it worth going and get a Mackenzie Blackwood who signed for the next 5 years, including this one? So he's a UFA in 29 in season 30-31. While Wedgwood is still there for this year and he signed a 1 year extension at 2.5, like, is it safe to go get Blackwood? Or no, this is more like long-term leagues, so dynasty or keeper leagues, because obviously in redraft leagues, you probably won't he won't be available, but you could probably trade for him. So yeah, no, my I want your long-term take on Mackenzie Blackwood at Colorado. Does the fact that Wedgwood is there for another 2 years scare you in the short term?
No, I think Wedgwood's just had a hot start because Blackwood was injured. But I think over time it's gonna stabilize and Blackwood will take back that number one role in goalie. I don't believe that Wedgwood is gonna take that away. It could be from now to the end of the year they're still gonna split because Wedgwood is just on fire. So if he doesn't cool down, the co- the coach will be stupid not to do a 50-50 trial with them, right?
Yeah.
But I feel as soon as Wedgwood starts struggling, it's Blackwood's net. I mean, they committed to him for 5 years. If not this year, next year, it will be majority Blackwood, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Nick, you
I
obviously weren't scared, right? You acquired him
I acquired him because
for
29
Hellebuck,
years old.
nonetheless.
Yeah, I got Lafreniere and Blackwood for Hellebuck. Basically, is the trade. I can't remember if I what else I gave up, but um,
I might have been a swap of picks.
yeah. Um, so Blackwood had 7 wins, 7 quality starts in his last 8 games played. Um, the a big part about Blackwood is, like you guys said, $5 million is not a lot of money. $5.3 million for the next 5 years. Um, and he's playing on the team that just doesn't know how to lose. So for me, even if he's splitting time in leagues like LPHL that count wins as very important, like the guy has 16 games played this year only. He has 13 wins. Like, and 2 of them were shutouts. Like, the for games for leagues that count wins very highly, Blackwood I think is a very safe bet for the next few years, especially the way that this combo. And don't forget, Blackwood and Wedgwood were partners in the past. I think it was with New Jersey. They were both in New Jersey, and we used to make fun of all the woods in New Jersey. Now we could talk about all the woods in Colorado, and it's just a good tandem. They're a good tandem to have, and Blackwood I think would be playing more anyways moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, before we end the show, I'm gonna ask you guys which goalie do you feel like you absolutely want in every league you're in? But before you answer, I'm gonna take a quick break for a sponsor. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customer, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467 369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. Okay, guys. Who's your go-to goalie in fantasy and why?
Well, are we talking about long run? Are we talking about this
Whatever you
year?
want.
Like,
If you want to think of a dynasty, you just mention it's for dynasty. If it's yearly, you mention yearly.
I mean, if I'm looking at dynasties of goalies that I stick with and keep, I'm looking at Spencer Knight, Askarov. These are all up and coming teams that are almost out of the rebuild. And when they'll be out of the rebuild, they'll still be young enough to be top 10 in goaltenders. So I'd stick with goalies like that. Uh, I mean, Shesterkin is Shesterkin. You know, if he could play 80 games, New York will play him 80 games, even if they're going through a retool or rebuild. Because I mean, they have a 37-year-old backup in Quick that's not having a very good season this year. So that's what I would be looking at.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue against Vasilevsky, Sorokin, but that's just talking to you about my my Lama team. Um, I really like the cord. I went out and got him.
Mm,
I really like Blackwood. I went out and got him. But the one that I traded away hurts me the most. And maybe this is the guy that you should be focusing on. Logan freaking Thompson. Logan Thompson is having a phenomenal year again. And I tried selling him high. It just doesn't look like I did that. I sold him low, I guess, because he's still producing and he's even playing more games than he was playing last year. So for me, Logan Thompson is the guy that, at least for the next couple of years, I don't see him leaving Washington. I see Washington still being competitive, and this guy should have been the Vegas Golden Knights starter instead of Hill.
Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for me, I mean, right now, I really like Vejmelka. He's turning into a quick crush. He's 29. The team is out of their rebuild, and he's on, like, for cap leagues, he's on such a good deal at 4.75 for the next 5 years. So I really like that one. And in terms of long term, I like Jet Greaves because I just feel like he's going to be one of those guys who's on a up and coming team. They're out of the rebuild pretty much. They just have to put the final touches together. But I don't think he's going to make too much money either for cap leagues. And I focus on cap leagues a lot because those are the leagues I like the most. And so yeah, Jet Greaves in terms of a long term play is is my go to.
What
So
about
guy,
Wallstad?
oh, Wallstead. Yeah, but like Vince said, like Gustafson is still committed there for a little while.
Hmm.
So, and they're gonna enter cap trouble, and he's gonna have to be paid too. Uh, man, what's Kaprizov making next year? 17.5.
Hmm.
And they have Quinn Hughes, and I have a feeling they're gonna sign him. I have a feeling that he's gonna stay there. But it's yeah, no, for future for sure. It's not. Look, there's even Dustin Wolf, but like Dustin Wolf, Calgary has nothing. Like even if you look at their prospect pool, they don't have stars. You know what I mean? So like it's gonna take them still a little while to get out of it.
Yeah, agreed.
Hey Nick, you want to know something?
Oh God.
I found a book that solves 50% of my problems. So you know what I did? I bought two of them.
That one's okay. That one's good.
That was cute. That was cute.
Just a reminder for everyone to follow us on social media at Partial Break Pod, Instagram, X, TikTok. If you're watching us on YouTube, Jen, just click that bell, like and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to us. So that's the easiest and best way you can support us. And another way is to just download our episodes. Follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on any podcast platform, audio podcast platform. We're there. You search us, you follow us, you download, and
Oh,
everybody's happy.
we didn't even mention it. Guys, I hope you stuck around until the end because the World Junior Championship winner was Junior with 89 total fantasy points. Vince in second place with 88 fantasy points. I don't think we've ever seen anything as close as that in a fantasy pool. I know it's a short fantasy pool, but still.
Left you
Uh,
guys in the dust.
uh, Junior Michael McKenna had 18 points. Michael Hage had 17 points, fantasy points for him, and nobody else really mattered, I guess, because it was
Yeah.
1 point difference at the end. So, great tournament, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the pool.
Yeah, maybe next year we can include some listeners or make it a little bit maybe less
Yeah,
players but more get more
I think we
GMs.
should have brought in the commish. Commish Batista, I think, should have been there. Maybe a couple of other guys as well. Would have been cool.
Guys, another Fantasy Lens episode is in the books. We'll see you again next week.
Peace out, guys.
Take care, everybody. Have a good week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.